Welcome to episode 2 of Unbuttoned.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for listening last week.
Yeah, we're so happy to be back. We'll consider it not a total flop.
Yeah. We were so happy to hear that you guys enjoyed the episode and found it relatable and maybe a little bit motivating. We're so happy to do that. But I think today we wanted to make it a little more lighthearted because we're just in a funny mood today. And we want to laugh today with you guys.
We've had a crazy week and we're like,
yes.
Okay, now it's time to laugh.
Yes. We've had a crazy but very productive week. But we wanted to kind of build on the whole idea of faking it until you make it because we have 100% done that up until now with our business. And we wanted to share some stories with you guys, kind of telling you a little bit more about our road to getting to where we are now with Coco the Shop, but also just sharing some funny moments where we definitely were faking it to make it.
Episode 1 was kind of like the overview of like how we got to where we were today, but like the very surface level.
Yes.
And now we're going to try maybe like each episode to dig into like a little piece and part of that. Also, if there's ever something that you want to know more about or hear about, definitely send us a message because that's super helpful to us.
Yes.
But like Elizabeth said, today we're going to talk about faking it till you make it, which is so real.
So we kind of shared last week that the first time we ever went to a market to buy product for the shop, there are different qualifications that you have to be able to attend a wholesale market. You have to prove that you're an established business so that not anybody can just go buy product wholesale. And one of the things that we did, we had to have an official business card, which I think is so funny that that's like a requirement.
Which I'm like, what is this, the 1920s?
Like, literally print it out on paper. So we just went in Canva.
I know,
and
we just made
a business card that had my home address and then our business name
They also
on it.
required titles, and we were like, we don't. What are our titles? We literally had to ask Elizabeth's husband. We're like, what should our titles be? He said something super official. We were like, no, we're not doing that.
No.
And my husband actually listened last week, and he said, I learned something new. I didn't realize you guys made a fake business card. I'm like, oh yeah, and you were going full-blown fake.
And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
It did work. I don't even remember what our first ones. I want to try to dig it up and find what our titles were, but probably something silly like buyer.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what to put. But we didn't even have a business name yet.
Yeah.
And we flew to Chicago.
Yeah.
We had no idea what market even looked like. You had a little bit of an idea because you had gone to a wedding market before.
Yeah, back before I even had William, I think it was, I was really interested in, I had actually just gotten married, and in hindsight, that's totally why I was so excited about it. But I had really wanted to open a wedding dress boutique. Yeah. And so we had taken a little family trip with Peter Joseph to Chicago, and I went to a wedding dress market, which was actually in the exact same place as the market we went to for the first time.
Yeah.
But a whole different experience, completely different experience. And I didn't end up buying anything at the bridal market or anything, but also we, to fly out there and to start the business, we just took out like a business Amex, which is another thing like that. I think we kind of touched on this last week, but that's one thing that I think is a misperception about, is that a word? Misperception? Misconception about the financial startup of Coco.
Look at me correcting you, by the way. I just want to stop and say something that it's usually me
Lauren
who says,
can't spell, or
I can't spell, I can't use phrases right. But here we are, misconception.
Peter paid Paul.
Peter paid Paul. I want everybody to mark that down on their calendars right now. May, what is it?
7th,
something, 8th?
8th, yep.
I knew a phrase.
Yeah. What was I even talking about? I don't remember what
Sorry,
I was talking about.
I really needed to say that.
We took out a business Amex. Yes. So that was how we started things from a financial perspective. We had a business Amex, and that is what we put our travel on originally. And then also our first round of products.
Yes.
That was how we got things started. So we didn't have any sort of like fundraising or any cash that we had up front. It was just a business Amex.
Yeah.
And we still use that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we still have that card.
Yes.
And also talking about the market, we literally went to like one vendor and we're like, oh my God, this is totally our style.
This is
love
our vibe.
it. This is our vibe. Now we look back and we're like, okay, it was fine.
Yes, it was good, but that particular vendor has not updated their styles
they look
since
the same.
then. So now
3
we
years later.
Look back and laugh. We're like, oh, there's that dress we started with, the pine dress.
For the pine dress. We always joke because the pine dress haunts me because if I see a picture of it for one more second, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh, it was in the first drop.
Yeah.
It was in the first drop, and Lauren was not a fan.
No. And going along with the fake it till you make it, we obviously didn't know how to even like load products, mark products.
Oh my God.
All these things it was a learning game.
We
had
didn't
to just
know how
guess.
to buy. Like, we didn't know how it worked. So when we found a vendor, we were like, so how does this work?
Yeah.
Like, how do we pay you? When do you ship it? How
Right.
much do we order? Like, we went into it so blind. But
They were like asking for our email. We are like our personal
Yeah.
email or
we don't have a
We don't have an
business email. We got a Gmail.
yeah. We did get our ducks in a row a tiny bit when we
Yeah.
got back. We realized all the things that we needed to get together, but at that point we needed to get all the inventory in and get
Mhm.
a website up and running.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this was all. We went to market till January 24th because I just looked back at pictures.
Oh my gosh.
And if we could put a picture up in the corner of this on YouTube, I'm going to, because we joke that we look like babies.
We do.
And it wasn't even that long ago, but we
I'm like,
are
has
like,
this business aged
holy
us?
crap. Exactly. I'm like, are we okay?
I know.
So I'm going to try to put a picture up in the corner or something because it's funny
It
how
is
like
funny.
quick things change.
It
But
is funny.
we went to that first market on the 24th of January, and then on February 15th was the first launch. So if that gives you any
Yeah.
indication of like turnaround time to get our act together.
Yeah. And we actually, I think at the time when we went to market, we were like, okay, let's aim for March 1st.
Yes.
But then items started arriving and we were just so excited and we were like, let's just do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah. Items started arriving to Elizabeth's house.
Yep.
We didn't have, obviously, the office at the time.
Yep.
We were working out of her she shed.
Yeah. I have an old like shed on our property that I had convinced Peter to renovate for me, basically just paint the walls and put flooring down. But we were like, we could work out of there, just in the dog cage, basically.
Completely in the dog cage. But I want to pause really quick because I realized that we are assuming that everybody knows us. Elizabeth's husband is Peter.
Yes.
Lauren's husband is Hunter. So if you ever hear us
Yes.
mentioning them,
Yes.
that's who we're talking about.
Yes.
But yes, Peter built this on their property and we decided to make it our
Yeah.
office, warehouse, all of the above. And when I say shed, I mean, how big would you say that shed is?
It's like 10 by 12.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's
little.
It's little, but we thought we were
we made
like
it work though.
in the mecca of
Yeah,
offices.
yeah.
We thought we were so cool in there. And it started out, we had like a little couch, a desk.
We were
and
scrappy.
we were really scrappy. We would pack orders on an IKEA, like, you know, those cube
The 6
shelving.
cube shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our packing station.
That I brought up from the basement and it was broken. Like
It was broken.
not
It wobbled
standing.
around and the packages didn't even fit on the top, but we like thought it was so cool.
We were so
loved
excited
it.
about it.
Yeah, honestly, it was great. I
Uh,
sometimes like get a little teary-eyed when I think about
I
the shed because I'm like,
know.
it was so fun because we were so freaking scrappy.
I know. We were really scrappy. And I do feel like starting this business rooted in that is like we still are scrappy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we always will be because that's just how we had to do it in the
Mhm.
beginning.
I feel like when Savannah started, she's like, oh, certain things were like, oh yeah, that's just like how we do it. Like it's fine.
Savannah, who started as an intern with us, she is now full time. She just graduated last weekend. But the first day that she came to her internship, we were like, oh yeah, come up the long driveway and we're upstairs on top of my garage.
Okay, that's another fake it till you make it thing that we shouldn't admit on here, but we're going to really quick. We had applied on Handshake on Ohio State's website for an intern.
Yep.
The first time that we ever did it, it kicked us back because they said, we're not sending an intern to a home.
Yeah.
Like, you serial killers.
They were like, we don't accept businesses that work out of the home. We,
Right.
we
Like, that's
don't.
a no-no.
We can't send our students there.
So we messaged in and basically had to tell the woman, like, okay, it is from home, but it's not. We have a building on property that's our office.
Yeah, which is true.
Which is true, but a little bit of a fake it.
Yes.
But we got away with it, and that's
Yeah.
how we got Savannah.
Yeah.
And the first day that she came, we're like, up the gravel driveway, down to the back shed, and we're like, oh my God, she has to probably be calling her mom being like,
I'm
this
really
is kind of
nervous.
scary.
But once she got up those crickety stairs, we had a little agenda for her. We had like
well,
a little
we didn't
welcome
at first.
gift.
We said, oh shoot,
Yeah.
an intern starting tomorrow. Should
That's
we like
true. We moved up there right before that because
Yeah,
we were like,
well,
we need to be more legit.
the folder we gave her? We're like, shoot, should we like type something up that makes us look more official? We don't even have like anything official.
Yes.
So we typed up a little binder. I don't even remember what was in the binder, but
Yeah.
just like a welcome letter, kind of what we do, our motto. But that was put together last minute.
Fast forward to now, we just gave her an official offer letter, and Lauren, the night before we were giving it to her, she was like, "Put the logo on the top or something, make it look legit." And
she
then
had it typed out like on Google Docs. I'm like,
and
that's
she
fine, but
print
like
it on cardstock.
I was like, first of all, put like our business up top. Yeah, and I'm like, print on
The
cardstock or
teacher
something.
over here.
She was just printer paper. And then the best part about it all is we give it to Sav. We're so excited. It's in a folder. It's on cardstock.
So
we have
official.
our emblem or whatever it's called, logo. And Sav brings it back a few days later, and she's like, I just signed really big at the bottom. There was no line to sign.
We didn't even have a signature line. The whole last paragraph is like, please sign this, and owner will sign as well. And then it just says sincerely. And there's no, so she just signed it big on the bottom.
She just signed it big on the bottom. And
We
we're
were
like, oh
laughing
my
so
gosh,
hard.
just
We're
another.
Right when we thought we put that logo on there, printed on a cardstock,
We thought we were so
and we were official.
And then that humbled us real quick. So we're
Yes,
like,
it
who do
did.
we think we are being official?
Once again, we're real scrappy.
Yes. But we started in the shed.
Yeah.
And then when we had Savannah start with us, we had, backtrack. Tracy started with us before Savannah did. But Tracy, when she started with us at first, was working from home.
Yep.
So at the time, we didn't need to make more office space because she would pop in here and there.
Hi, Tracy.
But she wasn't. Tracy's behind us as we're talking about her. We didn't have to get as scrappy because we're like, okay, she works from home. No big deal. She comes, she gets like the stuff, and we all kind of knew our place. Then fast forward, and we decided to have Tracy in office more and kind of switch roles.
Mm-hmm.
And we still just kind of made do. We kept saying, she's going to quit. Like, we're putting her over in this shed. We have no space. She's such like a organized person, and she's so legit.
She is still here today. She's standing right back
and here we were like shoving her into a shed with bees, and she's allergic to bees. Do you remember when she was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can work by these bees. We got a bee trap.
There was a massive bee's nest right outside the shed for a while. There was
also a colony of cats that we started naming. I mean, it got weird. But so Tracy started, she got scrappy with us, and she was fine. And then, like I said, we got the intern, and we told Elizabeth's husband that we needed to take over the barn.
Yes.
Because we didn't have room. We just had room for inventory.
And we had to look legit because Ohio State was sending her, and they already said that we couldn't work from the home.
Yeah, we couldn't have them coming for us. So we moved from a shed to a barn because apparently that was more legit in the moment. And this barn was upstairs, the part that we were allowed to go
without air conditioning. So we had to buy an air conditioner that ended up
that's
leaking.
what I was going to say. Downstairs is Peter's like tool shed, and he told us that if we touch it, we're dead to him. So we were like, all right, well, we'll go upstairs then. Fine, we're not going to touch your tools. Yes. Although we did send him a picture on top of his tool bench just to piss him off.
Yeah.
And then we went upstairs. There was no air conditioning. It was hotter than sin.
Oh my God.
So we had Elizabeth's dad come and install an air conditioner in the wall, and
ended up leaking everywhere through the floor, through the ceiling of Peter's barn. It's just so freaking funny to look back on.
We called Elizabeth's dad really quick.
Day.
We're like, come help us before Peter notices. He wasn't even mad at us, but we flooded the barn.
In the shed, it started out like so cute. It had like a couch and like a desk, and it was like this cute little she shed. And as we grew, we just had to keep making room for more inventory. But at one point, like, we were building a house on our land, and so at one point we were like shooting all these glamorous pictures and try-ons and stuff like in the shed, when in reality
if you looked outside,
we had no running water at all. We had no internet, so we were working off of our
Wi-Fi from our phone.
Yeah, and we had no plumbing, so we
also had one working light bulb.
And one working light bulb. And randomly the power would just like go out like during construction, but we had no bathroom. We were peeing in a porta potty, and then we'd pop back in with our hair all done and like keep shooting.
I mean, imagine a construction site and you are in full glam, a dress, and you are hiking it down the cobblestone road to a porta potty
amongst the construction workers who are looking at us like, what in the world is going on back there?
Yeah. That was, now looking back at it, it's funny and it's fun. At the time, we were like, we're just going to do it. We really don't care.
Yeah, that brings us too, though, to like another more recent shift that we made, which was getting an office space, which is where we are now.
I think that a lot of people have asked that, like, from the financial perspective, and we just had zero overhead. I mean, we had the inventory, which we would sell and turn over, but we didn't pay for an office because we were working in a shed.
Yep.
We didn't even have water.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a bathroom. And we had one light bulb.
Yeah.
So we honestly, for the first year and a half,
we
paid almost nothing because we were trying to save it up to eventually get an office.
Yeah.
which I know is not feasible for everyone, and working from home is really hard, but we just kind of had to make it work. And
yeah. And then when the office opportunity did come, like even in that situation, could we have waited longer and been in a better place financially before signing a lease? 100%. But again, it was a conversation that we had. In fact, I remember you, me, and Tracy sitting out like in my grass one day and just being like, should we go for this?
Which, mind you, the day that we were sitting in the grass was a day that my son was home from school because he was sick, but we had a really important meeting.
Yeah.
And being all moms, everyone, we've always been really supportive of each other. And Tracy and Elizabeth were like, I mean, not all, me, my kid, we're not all fit up in this barn.
Yeah.
So we're like, cool, he can play on the playground.
Yeah.
We'll lay in the grass and have our meeting. And we did it. And we laid there. And I remember us saying, I don't know how much longer we can do here. This just isn't feasible. And really the turning point was we left a trash bag in the barn, and stray cats got into Peter's car, and he sent us a text in the morning.
He basically kicked us out.
Was
the landlord
so mad at
evicted us.
He was like, you're done. And it was kind of the push we needed to be done because we were going to just kind of hang on to it. But could have probably hung on for a little bit longer. However, we've gotten so much more done in this environment. So there's pros and cons.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
To both.
I feel like I'll never forget that conversation though, because all three of us knew that it was a really big risk.
Yeah.
But like we all collectively were like, we can do this. Like we'll figure it out. We'll find a way. And having these two feel so supportive of it gave me the push to go for it. And I do think there's something to be said for like just leveling up. Like we were in this place where, you know, we could have better photography, better marketing, more efficient operations, be together more, get out of my house with distractions. Like at one point, like Lauren and I would be inside my house photographing things. Tracy would be upstairs in the barn working on like pulling data, and Sav would be in the shed. And it was just like so inefficient. And again, it was like a risk, but now looking back, it really helped us like take a step into like really leveling up in terms of just the business in general, getting out of there.
In general, it helped us in so many ways. One, leveling up when we moved, but I'm thinking about before we made the move, just working in those, I almost said conditions as if we were like...
conditions, like it's a sweatshop.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that was a little dramatic. But when we were working in that environment, it honestly made us a lot closer. One, because we were physically close.
Yeah.
And two, we had to learn how to communicate. Because we were so close, there was no room for just... argument, huff and puff. Right. I mean, there was one time that there was an argument. I got so annoyed, and I was like, I got to get out of this fucking barn, and I got to take a breather. Mind you, this was over a calendar. It got to be a lot, and I think that was our tipping point where we were like, we're just not getting stuff done efficiently, and we're starting to get snippy with each other. However, that also taught us how to communicate with each other because that was our first real like moment of being like, oh, whoa, okay. You know, that's kind of how things are working. So it taught us stuff, but it also...
We learned so much in that space and throughout that entire experience. And now moving in here has taught us so much too. Like every day we learn something new, and it usually comes with some sort of setback.
Totally.
But
our favorite lesson is that we used to just change wherever because we were at Elizabeth's house. Yes. We moved in here and realized we're in offices surrounded by like men. And we, thank God we have a dressing room because we find ourselves just starting to get changed, and we have to remind each other, go in the dressing room, because we were so used to being in Elizabeth's house that now lesson learned, we're like, we can't do that. But bigger lessons also came with it, like sticking to the budget a lot more. And...
yeah, it's definitely held us accountable more than ever before, for sure.
Because now we have more fixed costs than we ever did. A lot of them were variable, and we could kind of fly by the seat of our pants. So budget, I would say, was a big one we took from it, but also just like time. And blocking out time.
Literally systems, like logistical systems within the business, because now we have a warehouse and we have more of a tight budget, and we've had to like really get serious about cutting costs where we can and making things more efficient. And it's crazy the leaps and bounds that we've made over the past like since like the fall of last year when we started to consider an office, because it forced us to be like.
It did. And if you guys only knew how many times we've changed our systems.
Yes.
It's
every week.
wild because things just start evolving and we realize different ways to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And we laughed because when Savannah started, she's like, oh my God, I probably messed that up. And we were like,
we mess up every
girl,
day.
please mess up because it's the only way that we've learned things and we mess up every single day.
Case in point, back again to fake it till you make it. We were actually at market when this happened, but we had a restock on our best like butter soft joggers. They've always sold amazing. They really are amazing. We like had hyped them up so much. They were getting ready to launch that night, and I literally don't even know how I didn't catch this, but I put them up when they launched for $0.
$0. My neighbor caught it.
Like 5 people bought them for $0.
We always joke that my neighbor Delaney is our catch because
she catches things in 5 seconds.
We're always like, oh, we're going to get a text from Delaney on that one.
Yeah.
And we love it. But
thank you, Delaney.
Yes, thank you, Delaney. Another fake it till you make it is the first time we ever got cuff earrings. I was mailing out 2 pairs of earrings. And then
it was one cuff. And
we were looking for them later, and she's like, "Where are the cuffs?" I'm like, "Oh, I mailed them." She's like, "Everybody gets one." I'm like, "Oh my God!" So if you were one of those lucky ones that got 2 cuffs, you're welcome. You got a free item.
Honestly, thanks for being patient with us.
Yeah, and that's like not even touching the surface of the things we've done. I mean, we learn something every day.
Yeah, another funny thing to think back on when once my house was done, Lauren and I started doing our try-ons in my bedroom. And, to you guys, it probably just looked like a white wall and a tree. But like we had to every single week move my bedroom furniture, fully rearrange the room, and then bring all the clothes in from the shed. They were a tornado in my bedroom afterwards. And my husband used to get so annoyed because he'd come home from work and be like, what happened in here?
He would send us a group chat and say, please clean up your shit.
Lauren used to like hide the mannequin like in my bed, like when we would go on a trip so that my husband
if I was ever doing a try on by myself, I'd put Pam or Peg on Peter's side of the bed. And
we'd like leave funny notes.
We would leave like little funny things to see if he'd catch.
Needless to say, he's pretty excited we have an office now.
Yes. He likes to joke with us,
but landlord, but I'm glad he's not the landlord anymore.
I told him, I'm like, I'm really done with you being my landlord, and I gotta go. He was always on us about the trash.
Always.
I mean, let's be clear, it is his home.
Yeah.
But we just love to give him a hard time about being the landlord because we used to joke, we're like, we want a different landlord. He's like, go get one then.
And now we have one.
Now we have one, and he's great. But so that was a fun little bit we had to play. We used to, at the end of the day, be like, all right, let's just clean up a little bit so Peter's not mad at us.
Oh my God, yeah. Now honestly, it's so nice here because when we have a day like that, we can just figure it out in the morning, like clean it up in the morning.
Right. And if you follow us on TikTok, Sab put up a TikTok one time of a try-on day and what it really looks like in here. It's straight tornado.
Oh my gosh.
And there have been occasions we've just left it.
Yeah.
We always clean it up the next day, but it just gets to be so cumbersome. And we, if you haven't noticed, are all in this office a little ADD, ADHD. Yeah. And we're bopping from idea to idea.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other episode we can go into.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, I just realized I'm not wearing shoes. Talk about ADHD.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So in between all of this, we actually had to move out of our house, our current house, to a condo because they tore our house down while they were building. So Lauren and I were still, all of our inventory was still in the shed, but my house wasn't there anymore. And we were in a condo in Bridge Park, and it's so funny.
For those of you who are not local, it's about 10 minutes ish away.
It's like
down the road.
It's like a little downtown area.
Like restaurants and...
Yeah. So during that time, we would have to, every time we do a try-on, we'd have to go up and down the elevator that took a code to change.
You had to have a key card. And obviously I didn't live there. So every time she had to come down and key card me in, or I had to put in the code. Yes. And to open the elevator on each floor.
Yeah, so every time it was up and down. And then a couple times we had my son, Peter, who was like 8 at the time, with the Canon camera taking photos of us in the middle of Bridge Park. Yeah. It was so
He was really into it at first. Yeah. And then after a couple of times we dragged him down, he was like, okay. Yes. But he honestly did a really good job. And we kept joking. We're like, he took some of our best pictures.
He did. And it's so funny to think about now because we do all of our photos like here in front of a backdrop. But at that time, we were just going random places in public trying to get good photography. I mean, it was so embarrassing.
Again, scrappy. We didn't have a consistent place with good lighting. So we would truly go next to buildings, go in parking garages, and we would take our photos. And it was fun now looking back on it. It was quite the experience. But because we were in a public place, we couldn't just change. So between every outfit, we had to key in, go all the way upstairs, change, key in, walk down the road, find a new spot to shoot in.
I'll never forget one time it was like a dress drop, remember? And
I
we
know
did it
exactly
like
with the
early
cherry
in the
dress.
morning on like a Monday.
Yes.
And we had these like high stiletto heels on and these tiny little fancy dresses, like walking around Bridge Park. And people were just like,
Dangly
what?
earrings.
With this 8-year-old taking photos.
Right, while they're like getting their morning coffee for a work day. And we're like, oh my God, what must people think of us? That was probably our first indicator. Well, long before that, but another reminder of us to, it doesn't really matter what people are going to say about you.
Totally.
Like I see people all the time and I'm like,
yeah.
The best is when we go somewhere on a weekday and I'm like, what are these people doing here? And then I'm thinking, I'm here. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Like you're always wondering what other people are doing, but
it's so true. It's so true. I also have a vivid memory of doing a shoot at the State House downtown, and I was by myself because I can't remember what you had going on, but I just took a tripod. And that one was really embarrassing too because there were like these middle school field trips that were like walking by. And I remember one of the kids made a comment about like me being a TikToker or something.
She called me and said, oh my God, this middle schooler just said, this girl's over here TikToking.
I was like, excuse me. No, I'm not.
And she carried on. She moved to a different spot and continued on with her photos.
I sure did. I was like, you think I'm a TikToker? I'm cooler than that, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. That was...
When in reality, I am basically a TikToker.
Yeah, except I'll send her TikTok videos and she doesn't...
I actually don't really do TikTok.
I don't ever make a TikTok. I love to scroll it though. I was like that with Vine back in the day, if anyone remembers that. Like,
oh, I do kind of remember
I love
Vine.
a good video streaming, probably because I'm ADD and can just scroll forever. And I need to just delete it. But
here we are talking about TikTok ADD.
I know. See, this is what's going to happen on here. Anyways,
it is.
faking it till you make it. It's important sometimes to fake it. And we're not talking about like not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like we should clarify because I don't mean be fake of yourself because you're going to get nowhere if you're not really you.
Yep.
People are going to see right through that.
More so the idea of just like jumping in like before you have everything figured out. Like,
yeah, fake it till you make it with sometimes decisions.
Yes.
You're going to make wrong ones. You're going to make right ones and you're going to figure it out no matter what. Again, as long as you stay true to yourself, you trust each other.
Yep.
In another episode, we're going to kind of talk about like how we built our relationship and
our friendship business.
Because we weren't like, we didn't know each other at first. So we built a friendship and a business relationship. And then not only us with friendships, but kind of talking about how we had to build a community and make connections with people. Network. I learned so many new faces, new people within the past few years who have been amazing and like amazing women to learn from. Not only just women, just amazing people to learn from.
Yep.
And pick their brains.
Totally.
I
feel like
that's
we
such a
met
big
with
part about
so many amazing people who were willing to give us guidance and like open doors for us.
Totally.
And we'll do a whole episode on that too. But that kind of comes back to what we're talking about too.
Yeah.
I feel like there were some times when we were going to meet with somebody and I was like, I am not like legit enough to be like talking about any of these topics with this person. But it's like, you most likely have some sort of value to add to the conversation and taking those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just never know what doors can open when you do network and just, again, take the leap.
Well, in the whole first year, every conversation I'd say to Elizabeth, okay, you do the talking. I'm just going to listen. But mainly, I was kind of trying to learn. I mean, she had been in this realm before and I hadn't. And I just kind of wanted to sit back and soak it all in. Now I feel confident enough to have the conversations or initiate a connection or whatnot. But it was a big learning curve for me to like figure that all out. But I think it's the most valuable thing that we have done.
Totally. I completely agree.
I feel like everything's going to be a little bit of a learn.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we could talk forever because we just like to yap in here. But we're just going to sum up this episode and kind of like what our takeaways are. And we hope that you guys will obviously join us for like episodes to come. Message us. Let us know what topics. We love to hear from you. But again, the lesson here is kind of just fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I feel like what we want you guys to hear from this is, I know personally, I mean, I'm sure we all experience like outside looking in, whether you're following another small business or another person or an influencer on social media that seems like they are so smart and have everything figured out and
Right.
have everything all together. Most likely they don't. And a lot of our journey has just been going into it and then just being okay with pivoting and just jumping in before we have every single little thing figured out. And that is obviously going to feel uncomfortable, but that's how you learn. It's the quickest way to learn.
Yeah.
And never compare yourself to anybody else, because you know that what you're seeing on social media is never the full picture.
Yeah. I mean, obviously anyone can post a great photo and behind that photo was 30 other ones where you may have looked crazy, but it took you 30 photos.
Yes.
So, I mean, just important to remember that you got to keep going.
Yep.
Things are not always what they appear.
Yep.
And you can do it.
Bye-bye.